Hey, welcome to Keight Crafts. I'm Kate. Today I'd like to share with you a little bit of messing around. Let's get started. So to kick things off, we are going to be working with some 5x7 black matte UPO paper, some 100, or no, not 100, 99% isopropyl alcohol, and some alcohol inks. I've got some pearls, I've got some mixatives, I've got some regular alcohol inks. I've got some Copic refill inks. I've got a water brush here filled with alcohol, and I'm just messing around. There's no real rhyme or reason. I just was experimenting with everything that I've got going on today, and well, at least in today's project. I don't know, every so often I get the urge just to play. Now, alcohol inks in this form aren't really my forte because it is uncontrollable mess and I never quite know what to do. So I end up just messing around and I end up with these really neat patterns and I don't know how to explain it. If you've ever played with alcohol inks, it's not really so much of a pattern as a final masterpiece, kind of like a Jackson Pollock or something. Just throw a bunch of alcohol on it and see what happens. So here I'm just playing with it because I've never really played with the black matte cardstock with or Yupo paper, and I wanted to see the different effects. So what I did was I put some purple down and then I put some of this white pearl, I think, or silver, one of the two mixatives, and that kind of just, I don't know, it sunk through it and didn't really do much, so I keep adding more and more and more to it. And I finally got up and got myself a straw from the kitchen. I think this was a straw that I used in my drink for supper. Of course, I washed it out, but I ended up just, I don't know, messing around just to see what I could get because I don't really know a whole lot about alcohol inks, but every so often I just want to make a mess. And as this video goes on, my workspace gets incredibly messy and it's not a big deal. I mean, this is my make art station that has seen its day of fun and I've really like worn out the lines of it. Maybe one day I eventually will replace it, but I have the smaller version of it. So I try to treat that one with a little more care than I did this one. And this is the one I usually use for doing my alcohol blends. I do have a glass mat that I've worked with before that found from the dollar store like years ago when I first started into the card making. And that's easy to clean up too. It's a little more forgiving. I don't rub any lines off of it, but I'm always weird about working with glass because I'm a little clumsy. And gravity isn't necessarily my friend. So I try to be a little bit careful when I'm messing around with this stuff. So here I'm just picking up some alcohol and just splattering it to see what happens. And then I'll come back in and grab my piece that I was working on before and just playing because I found that you could get some really neat cells by splattering alcohol ink. So I put some in, not alcohol ink, but the alcohol itself into the ink. So I ended up putting some of the isopropyl alcohol, which is the 99% alcohol. I think I got it at Costco in like a 6-pack or something like that, like years ago. We don't go through it that often. It's mostly used for cleaning the electronics, but and at my craft station. So so anyway, I was putting it into the little cap and flicking it and just getting some really interesting shape and movement into what I was doing. And I mean, at the end of it, it was like, oh, yeah, these are kind of neat. But then when I go back to them, it's like, oh, yeah, I could see how I could use this in a card. And I'm always, I don't know, it's not my favorite medium to work with because it's so uncontrollable and I haven't quite mastered the technique or appreciation of being able to create something really pretty, but showing others, it's like, oh wow, that's really neat. How did you do it? It's kind of like, I don't know, I just blew some ink around and poof. You feel me? You guys understand what I mean? Like, do you guys work with a lot of alcohol inks or Do you have a favorite technique that you like to do? Another one that I really would like to try again is gel printing. I have a jelly plate, but I don't have a brayer, and that's like one of the things on my list to get is an actual brayer so that I could do gel prints. Kind of like Carrie Rhodes, she's like the queen of gel printing in my opinion. I've seen so many of her pieces that she's played with, and just having a box of that sounds really neat. I did try it early on, but again, it's kind of an uncontrolled mess to me, and I don't know how to explain it. It's just it's a different form of medium, and one that's not entirely my favorite. I do like doing splatter stuff, like a subtle kind of effect, but nothing to this extent. This is a lot. And I just keep adding and adding, and I get to a point where it's kind of like I maybe shouldn't have added that because it looked cool, but go big or go home. Might as well just keep going with it. And I do know that I'm probably going to end up using a lot of these for, card backgrounds. I do want to try and do like card layouts. I know my Instagram friend Nanti, she is the queen of clean and simple, in my opinion. I don't know how she does less is more. I honestly can't wrap my mind around it. My idea is just keep adding and throwing stuff at it until you're happy. But I've seen some pieces where it's like you have a pop of color and the rest is just one color, like a white or a beige or something, where you get that bold strip of, alcohol inks or something like that. So that's my kind of goal, I guess you could say, with this, is to maybe use them as accent pieces in cards eventually. I know there's a few cards that I need to make as market season approaches quickly, and I think that these guys would probably be a really good idea to use, at least to create a little bit of interest for each card. I know for some of the categories that I have, it these will be nice quick ones like, hey, need a birthday card, here you go. Need a quick sympathy card, there you go. Just slap a sentiment on it kind of thing. So that's another thing that you could use these for, is just cut them down and use them as accent pieces and cards and add a simple sentiment or a critter or something like that. Um, it's gonna be out of my comfort zone, I guess, because I never know what to do. I end up making the same cards over and over again, and it's kind of like I gotta figure something else out. What do I gotta do? I don't know. And I want to look on like Pinterest. I want to draw inspiration from the internet. But the thing about that is I end up scrolling. I just end up scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and I don't get much done. So I try to stay away from the internet and pull out pockets of my brain that have, different ideas or whatever. But this is one of the ones that I really, really, really liked. You could see the cells that the alcohol makes. It's like pushes the colors aside, so you get more of a border between the colors, and it really breaks it up. And I do this with another green one and some blue ones, and I don't know what it is about the purple and the red that just really grabs me. See, there I go wrecking it. It's not exactly what I wanted to do, and I just kept going with it. I kind of wish I would have left it as is, but that's the thing. You just keep building and building and building and see how you like it. But I don't know, it's almost like extraterrestrial or something like that. That's kind of what it reminds me of. So here's where I mess around with the greens. I end up pulling out my Copic refills, and I only have a few of them. I really, really enjoyed using, I think it was like a BG15 or something. And then I had like a YG, I can't remember the numbers offhand, but I don't know, they were really bright and really pretty. And I keep going back into this light blue. I don't remember the name of it. I will try to remember to dig them back out because they're all tucked away again. And write down the ones that I used in today. I can't guarantee it though because they are buried in the crafter lanch now. I ended up doing a little bit of moving things around, and you know, getting stuff out that I wanted to play with after this, and that kind of got buried. And yeah, so you can see here with the splatters, I don't know, it just looks really cool and I get really happy about it. So I end up trying to recreate it and then kind of side quest on it. But yeah, there's a couple that I would like to use for like beachy or like swimming or something like that, something to do with water. There's a few of them that I'd like to use. And I keep going back in with my heat tool, and I'm just quickly passing over it. And I know this is all really sped up, but I'm just passing over it quickly just to kind of give it a little bit of time to dry so I get, more I don't know, more definition, I guess. So you can see here I'm just moving some of the colors around, and the more you layer on it, the more you get those waves. And this is me dropping the Copic alcohol on it. There's no mixative or anything like that. And this is I think it's the like silver glitter or something like that, the Yupo paper. I got these a couple of weeks back at Michael's, and they were only like $7 a pack, which was almost half off, and that's not very often that you could buy them for that cheap. And the last time I went to Michael's, I think it was last Friday at the time of this recording. I think it's today as I'm doing the voiceover. It's like February 11th or something like that. And I remember going in and seeing the Tim Holtz stuff, and they actually had Distress Oxide on sale for like pre-COVID pricing. So I ended up calling my sister-in-law and being like, "Hey, I gotta send one of the kids a birthday present still. Do you want any of these colors?" So of course I got her some, and I didn't really see anything for myself because anything that I want from Michaels I've already got. And I was talking to one of the ladies that works there, and they were saying that they were getting some new products in, but she just didn't know what brands. And I'm kind of curious as to see what Michaels Canada ends up bringing in because they could do with a little bit of a facelift, in my opinion. If they're going to carry some more craft supplies, I don't know, it's like they've had the same types of things forever, it seems. Especially getting into card making, and anything that I want for card making from that store I've already got. So the odd time that I do get stuff, it's just a quick restock of like 110-pound cardstock if I'm in a pinch. You know what I mean? And we don't have any scrapbook stores here where I'm at, and if I want to go to one, it's like a couple of hours away if I want to stay in Canada. If I want to go to the States, then that's like, an hour to the closest scrapbook store, or if I want to go to a Joann's or an American Michaels, which has way more stuff than the Canadian Michaels, which kind of sucks in my opinion. I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm gonna tap out here for a little bit and maybe throw in some music if you guys want to keep watching. That's cool. And I'll cut back in here around the end. And if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. I'd love to hear from you and what you guys are up to. So let's tap into some music now. Alright, I'm back. So if you guys stuck around for this long to see to the end, or if you're just skipping forward and want to see all the finished pieces, thanks for hanging out. Like, it's cool that you guys stopped by and, watch the mess that I made. And, I had a lot of fun doing this. It was a huge mess. My fingers are still stained. And, I was lucky that my manicure was already ruined, so, I'm sure my manicurist is gonna I look at the sight of my fingers when she sees them still, because they still are a little stained around the cuticle. That's the joy of working with alcohol inks, right? But yeah, overall, this was a fun experience. I learned a few things that I'll probably forget later because it will be a while. I really love that one. It'll probably be a while before I mess around with these again, because I probably should turn these into cards. That one's a really cool water scene one too. Same with this one. I really like that one. And of course that one. I don't know. I kind of like a lot of them. That one's really cool. There was a really cool green one that I used in the photo. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think before. Ooh, there's that green one. I love it. Love it. Let me know in the comments what you think about alcohol inks. Yay, nay, do you love them? Do you hate them? Is it something that you reach for when you're feeling creative and just want to make a mess? I'd love to know. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.